we're not a hard-hitting journalists out here just going to the people and letting them know the hot takes that they want to know about, I guess.
Yeah. What's the show right now? Pablo Torre finds out. Or he just broke the Kawhi
Oh,
Leonard
the Kawhi Leonard.
like weeks after breaking the NFL labor thing.
What was it? It was the KL2, whatever the fucking company was.
But you know what he did?
You could listen. I know we don't talk basketball on this show. I say that for you and Luis, who know a lot more about basketball. But if you're gonna do some kind of backdoor, fraudulent, kind of shady shit, you'd think you would like come up with another shell organization with the name that isn't anywhere near linked to Kawhi Leonard,
Right.
who wears number 2.
Mm-hmm. That's it's shady for sure. It wound up being very shady.
If anything, how about you just do a whole curveball and do like LJ23, and then everyone's like, oh, "What the hell? Who's this?"
Yeah, who's LJ? Or yeah, who's a shitty member of the Clippers that you could like dump this on?
Hold on, I'm gonna go to ESPN and look at the roster.
Clippers roster. It has to be somebody.
There's got to be somebody on there,
right?
Can you pin it on Blake Griffin anymore?
Honestly, he's not there anymore.
Teams.
Nicholas Batum. That's who I would have put it on.
Yeah.
The NB, just do the NB 33. And because he almost got us out of the Olympics, so he has to take one for the team, literally.
Mm-hmm. I mean, do we have any refugees on the team that we can pin it on? Get them kicked out again? I don't know.
We got there's a Bogdanovich and a Zubac.
Yannick Conan Niederhauser.
Wow.
That's a name that smells fraudulent.
I just found, you know what? Yeah. Yeah, that's something you made up. Yeah, what's a name that John Collins. That's a fake name.
Oh, that is not how I thought he would look. Okay. Not Yannick. Next.
Bradley Beal's on the Clippers now?
Bradley Beal just exists in the ether. He's like the Jameis Winston in the NBA. He just shows up on teams.
This team would have dominated, 10 years ago? Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, James Harden, Bradley Beal, Bogdanovich.
Nick Batum.
Brooke Lopez is in there.
Nick Batum's 36. Jesus Christ. I thought he was 45.
They got 2 Kobes.
Yeah,
Kobe Brown, Kobe Sanders.
Got to get the other Lopez brother on there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an unstoppable team in
this
2011.
This is the team that you have an NBA Live RIP or 2K that you're like 10 years simulated and you're just grabbing all these guys before they retire so you can say they were on your team.
Did Chris Paul at least get number 3 back?
Yeah, he has number 3.
Okay, all right.
According to ESPN's official roster of the LA Clippers.
Man, RIP that one day that Chris Paul was a member of the Wizards. That was a fun day.
Hey, he's still rocking with red, white, and blue, so it's okay.
That's all that matters. I love that this is the cold open for College Shame Day.
NBA basketball?
NBA Clippers. Clippers talking tax fraud. Or whatever this is going to wind up being. Ballmer has to, somebody's going to jail for this, right?
Listen, not jail, heavy sanctions and fines. But, I mean, when you think college football, you think of fraud.
Right.
So I guess there's no better way to open it up and linker into there.
It fits right in.
Oh, man. You know what? Let's do it live.
I'm really happy for you. I'm going to let you finish.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Look at the show. I'm the captain now. Welcome to the fucking show.
Fuck Scott. That's right, folks. Welcome back to College Shame Day. We had a little bit of a hiatus there, Reed. It's currently September. We are after week 1 of the college football season of 2025. And it started off, I think, the way we were kind of expecting, Reed. Upsets, some ugly debuts of some key stars that were, really highly touted, and already some playoff shifting moments. I guess when we're talking about some ugly debuts, we have to talk about Texas really quick, right? Big winner of the week, Ohio State 14-7 over Texas. Freshman quarterback Julian Sayin, 126 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no turnovers, which I guess you would want to say the same for Arch Manning's debut. Yeah. 17 for 30 for 170, a touchdown and a pick. Do you think Arch Manning is just shaking off the nerves and finally getting, the keys of the driver's seat now that Quinn Ewers is gone, or are Texas fans in for just a long year?
No, I think it's exactly what you said, right? Shaking off the rust here. Not only are you shaking off the rust, it's week 1. It's big pressure, big nerves. Like I'm not feeling nervous whatsoever for Texas or for Arch Manning. He'll get it together. We've seen this before in week 1s before with, these young star quarterbacks getting a little shaky, trying to knock it off. Plus, it's Ohio State, right? We talk shit about Ohio State plenty. We love to talk shit about the state of Ohio. But
rightfully so, first of all.
It's warranted. You can't deny the badassery of Ohio State and their defense and how tough that's going to be. And they're just hearing all week as the defending champs, Texas, Arch Manning, Texas, Arch Manning. That's all the talk is. So, of course, they had plenty of, bulletin board material ready to go, and they were going to go all out and trying to shake up Arch Manning because that's the best way to go ahead and try and get that win against Texas, and it worked. It was an ugly, kind of boring sort of defensive game, old school defensive game, and it was messy from Arch Manning's style, and you got just enough out of Sayin and Ohio State, and that worked out for them. I think Arch will be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, looking ahead at Texas' schedule, I mean, now that they are officially in the SEC after last year, I mean, their schedule, I guess it gets kind of easier. I mean, they have a 3-game home streak: San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston. So if any time to get your act right, it's that, because that's when they get in the thick of things in the SEC. They're on the road in Gainesville against Florida. Then they're back at home for the Red River rivalry game, which I'm shocked that I just nailed that in one go, against Oklahoma. And then they kind of just jump back and forth: Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vandy, Georgia on the back half of the year, Arkansas to close out the season, Texas A&M. So yeah, if Arch Manning is going to try to figure this out, he's got to do it with this homestand before he goes into Gainesville, because that's going to be an ugly game. And I want to just put my condolences out there talking about Florida. I'm so sorry, Long Island University. You have no first of all, did we know that Long Island University was a thing and B, even had a football team?
No, but it's our favorite thing here on College Shame Day, which is finding some school that we have never heard of before and finding out their famous alumni. So Long Island University, famous alumni. I don't even think they know about it. Jesus, Brian Kilmeade, that's it.
And first of all, the Long Island University, if you had to guess what their mascot was without looking it up, what do you think their mascot would be in Long Island? Like the Gabagools, or
Davidson.
Like the Karen haircuts, or Ed Hardy t-shirts? I don't know. It's the Sharks, because that's what Long Island's known for. Sharks.
Just a shark and a wife beater.
Just a really Guido'd out shark. And yes, I can say that word.
It's a shark with like 3 hairs that are combed over.
It's a shark with a snooky poof. And before moving on, like you said, we give enough shit to Ohio State. Hold on, my executive producer is interrupting me.
Gotcha.
Goodbye. Go back to the war room.
What's the war?
Go back to the production facility. Thank you. All right. But like I said before, I was really interrupted. We give enough shit to Ohio as a state and as existence. How do I trip over existence but not Red River rivalry really quick?
And that one almost got you too.
Oh man.
It's like Arch Manning against Ohio State.
But I mean, Ohio State's defense, it's definitely looked championship ready. Like you said, it's week 1 of the season. Well, technically week 2. A lot of these teams are still trying to figure out. You have a lot of personnel changes, between coaching staff and players getting their shots at, being starters for the first time. But I mean, they still looked very impressive being able to hold Texas to just 7 points. Do you think that they're the most complete team right now? Because we originally thought it was Clemson, which we'll get to here in a second. Or is Texas just overrated at this point for you?
I don't think that they're overrated. I think that I think they got overpowered. I think that was simply it. And I wanted to go with Texas, and I wound up going with Texas for my championship pick on the who you got. But when you look at it, like, it's, they're a good team. They have a lot of good returning talent. Arch will shake it off. And if he can get confident and that team can get some confidence, get some really, beat 'em up style wins, maybe we see something different. Maybe we see a power, some type of, lack of a better word, Super Saiyan form, transformation for the team going forward. And all of a sudden it could be a completely different team by the time they see Ohio State again, if they do in the playoffs. So I don't think that they're overrated, but they do need to get their confidence up. But if there are very few coaches that, I have a confidence in to do that, and I do trust Steve Sarkisian, to be able to, get the jitters out, shake off the edges. They beat the hell out of their opponent this week. All of a sudden you could be feeling a different type of way. But if it's shaky again and we're seeing something, they get a close win this week, I think we might have some issues.
Yeah, especially looking forward to Ohio State's schedule for the rest of the year. Arguably that was the most difficult game on their schedule at home. But I mean, they still have Penn State halfway through the season at home. So that's a game to look forward to down the line. And then closing out the season in the big house at Michigan, which, Ryan Day, I think that's one of the last humps he needs to try to get over there in Columbus. So I guess we'll see what happens with Ohio State. But you mentioned how Texas was your pick-em for the championship this year. So I guess we'll get into mine, and that was Clemson, who I felt had, one of the most complete teams from top to bottom, both sides of the ball, especially in the trenches on defense there in Clemson. But, they dropped their game at home to LSU 17-10. LSU's defense looks legit. And Garrett Nussmeier, efficient, no big mistakes. I feel like he's one of those, top 3-4 players right now that are, Heisman hopefuls, easily could be the first or second quarterback off the board, especially with his dad being on the coaching staff there in New Orleans, which me and you both are in agreement, especially on the latest episode with Luis and Zoo, that nobody is really expecting much out of New Orleans. So I guess it just lines up perfectly. I know everyone wants Arch to go to New Orleans because, Archie played there, but, you got Garrett Nussmeier, who's a big name in New Orleans as it is now. His dad's there. It just makes sense how that would end up happening. But do you feel that they're good enough to carry this team through the SEC from here on out? Did they show you enough in that Clemson game, or is it just, they played an ACC team, which they get shit on every day?
They did show me enough, right? I was very impressed with Nussmeier's performance in that one. And the only thing that will always give me a little bit of pushback is Brian Kelly. And I don't trust him. I don't want to like him. But I did this whole villain arc last year with Ryan Day, where I was pushing for Ryan Day to get fired. I said that he's going to get fired by the end of the season because I just don't like him. I don't like his, overly darkened hair and goatee. And the same thing goes for Brian Kelly. I
just
don't
for
like
men's,
him.
man.
I think Brian Kelly is, I think he's stuck up. I think he's fake. I always remember his fake Southern accent when he first got to LSU, and it's still there sometimes. And it was delightful just seeing, just out of the corner of the screen, Brian Kelly getting trucked during the middle of a drive, and they never went back to it. I wanted to see more. But I can't deny either that he's a good coach and that he can lead teams to great, playoff pushes and stuff. So I do think LSU's for real. I think that they will, be continuously formidable throughout the season. And when we're talking about the kind of concerns from, the Texas game, right? And concerns, is Texas for real? I'm starting to wonder that now about Clemson. And I don't know how you feel in regard to that, in regard to Cade Klubnik, who has been like a Heisman, talk of a Heisman favorite,
the little darling of the college football world.
Right. So what do you feel about Clemson now after that loss, which was kind of surprising to me that they lost, that they were only able to put up 10 against LSU.
Yeah, I mean, the loss isn't, for them at least, coming out of the ACC, isn't detrimental by a lot, especially with how close that conference is going to be now with a certain team that we'll talk about here in a couple minutes. But I'm not totally concerned. I feel like they're still going to find a backdoor into the college football playoff regardless because of this. They are still a very talented team. I try not to give Dabo his roses as much as I can, but he's shown time and time again that he can get that team to play at a high level. And outside of, this game with LSU, I mean, they only have 3 other teams left on their schedule that are currently ranked. Now, if those teams remain ranked by the time they end up playing, because it is towards the back half of the season, that will look bad if they're one of their only losses on their schedule was to a ranked team at the end of the season. Same thing for LSU, though. I mean, they only put up 17 on Clemson, which, if you're trying to be the big boy now that Bama's not so much in the SEC, like, you're expected to play at a high level, and 17 points really isn't what you're hoping for. Thankfully they were to escape with a win, because the SEC is a much more competitive to get out with a championship, let alone a college football playoff. So it's good that they won, because LSU is kind of on that same sentiment that you had with Clemson. Like, I've never really been sold on Brian Kelly as a coach, as a person. And their team just seems to shit the bed. I mean, this is his first, I think, opening game of the season win that he's had in LSU, if my memory serves me correctly. So he finally got that.
Yeah.
After losing twice to Florida State. But I digress. Moving on, Reed, really quick note. Miami 27 over Notre Dame 24. Defensive end Ruben Bain Jr., 2 sacks, 5 QB pressures. He looks like a dog. But Miami's always hyped as back. We're back. It's the Dallas Cowboys of the college football world. Do you buy into this version of the Hurricanes after knocking off Notre Dame? Or are you just waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Honestly, and we were talking about, I was talking about Brian Kelly that way, and I kind of feel that way a little bit about Mario Cristobal, who is one of those coaches who will find a way to lose you a couple of games a year. But I don't know, man. Miami looked really good. Miami looked really fun. And as good as Cam Ward was with that team, right? There was a recklessness to him on there that kind of matched Cristobal in all the wrong ways, right? Where Cam Ward's going to do some shit that could possibly lose you a game if the team can't match up to it. I like a lot of the talent. I love the O-line and on Miami. I love some of their returning talent there. But Carson Beck, coming from, he was at Georgia last year, right? That's where he transferred out of. Yeah. He looked really good. And especially coming off of surgery, that there was some concern that he, might not be able to throw the same way again. And being able to, he had his drama with his his fellow
Jesus Christ,
his fellow Miami girlfriend. He looked really good. I was excited by him. There were some throws that were concerning. He definitely got bailed out on that contender for catch of the year already. That should have been an interception by all means and became a touchdown. But overall, I felt good about Miami's win there, and especially over a Notre Dame team that I didn't expect Notre Dame to make it back to a national championship this year, at least. But I still think that they're a formidable and good team. And I actually, for his issues, I liked Carr and his performance at quarterback. I think that there's something there. There's some potential if they can get him going and getting it. Same thing as Arch, get him going against some tough teams. But that was a very good first impression from Miami. It would be hilarious to watch them just fall off from here and fall apart. But they also, had a little bit of power from, Jimmy Johnson, Irvin, a bunch of those dudes were there to support the team and get them hyped up. So maybe it was all a condition of that, and Notre Dame fans calling them convicts again. But I thought it was a good first impression. I know that you don't want it to be that, but I'm curious
Nope.
where you think. How do you feel about Beck?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that Miami needed to do. They needed to prove themselves on a big stage, especially against a top 10 program, which as much as I try to not give the preseason polls any kind of weight to it, it still is relevant, unfortunately. But they need to go out there and get that win, especially considering, like we just talked about with Clemson, right? Like the ACC is going to be competitive this year. So like you can't just drop a game, especially to a ranked opponent, and expect to get, a championship, let alone a college football playoff berth, which, they have, they're right back in the saddle again against Bethune and then South Florida, which that could be a sneaky game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Before they open up, the rest of the ACC slate. They got Florida and Florida State back to back at home and then on the road. And then they go through the rest of the ACC, which any of those teams can give them a run for their money. I mean, we saw it last year, even with Cam Ward, who is head and shoulders better a quarterback than Carson Beck. But I was impressed with what I saw out of Carson Beck. I'll say it with a little bit of, uncertainty with it being the first game from here on out. And like you said, Mario Cristobal will find a way to shoot himself in the foot.
Yeah.
But on the flip side for Notre Dame, I mean, you talk about a cupcake schedule. Like,
always.
This is like your most competitive opponent that you have all year. And you're going to go back to South Bend, lick your wounds for the next 2 weeks because they're off on this Saturday, but they'll be back on the slate of games for the 13th when they host Texas A&M. But after that, I mean, you got Purdue, Arkansas, Boise State, who is a shell of the team they were last year without Ashton Genty, mind you. NC State, who could be sneaky. USC could be sneaky. So any of these other games, they could drop. So like I guess that's the advantage you have when you're a quote unquote independent football program. You can kind of just play whomever you can and want to at that point. But I mean, parity is at an all-time high in college football right now, let alone all other sports. And losing a game right out the gate, it's going to be an uphill battle from here on out. And rounding out the week 1 recap, there's no better way to end this read.
I've been looking forward to this so much.
And that's Florida State over Alabama, 31-17. Quarterback Tommy Castellanos backing up. They don't have Nick Saban to save them. Just don't see them stopping me. And they didn't stop me. Florida State dominated both sides of the ball in the trenches. I mean, outside of that one muffed punt return that we had late in the game, which is getting the jitters out. I mean, how many punt returns do you think he's taken since last year?
Right.
Not very many.
Yeah.
It's unbecoming of him. So I'm not really that worried about it. But I mean, FSU went from a 2-10 team last year to shocking Alabama. Do you see this being a one-off miracle, or is the start of a real AC contender run in the works for Florida State?
I'm very curious for your take on it, because not only was I shocked and upset about it, right? For your own selfish reasons. My own selfish reasons, which included and you and I talked about it. I showed you my parlay that week. I had a great parlay. Great one. It was awesome. I had gotten the Ohio State victory. I already had that down. And then I had a nice little parlay here, $20 parlay. Tennessee, got it. Maryland, got it. UConn, got it. Kentucky, got it. Purdue, got it. And then I had a 6 game on there. And these were all games that were supposed to, it was just easy shit. It was just supposed to be, an easy little parlay, get me a little nice win. And 6 team on here, I had Alabama over FSU because we saw what FSU was last year. And we know Alabama is not the same as Saban's Alabama, but we always have at least a couple shadow years. We had a couple concerns with Kalen DeBoer last year, but I had faith in him. He's gonna get it going. He's gonna get him back. And to my shock, that I'm in here editing, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna worry about the game. I'm gonna have it out on the living room. I'm back here editing, and I go back out. Let me see what's going on. It's FSU's beating them 17-0. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm watching the fourth quarter, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse by play and drive. Awful. I don't know we could say it about you all. I definitely think that there was going to be improvement. We knew that there was going to be improvement no matter what from last year. We don't know. I don't know what happened. last year with FSU, and you can break it down better than I can. But I was shocked at how FSU fell off so hard from what we thought could have potentially been a national championship hunter with Jordan Travis to just one of the worst teams in the nation last season. So it was kind of bound to be that they were going to meet and, find themselves somewhere in the middle this year at the very least and find some type of improvement. Mike Norvell is not the worst coach around. He can get that going.
No, it's Brian Kelly.
Right. But to lay an ass whooping on Alabama and dominate them throughout, like, no matter who it is at coach, it's still Alabama. They shouldn't be getting their ass beat that way. But they looked bad. FSU, I think, actually has a chance to be a really good contending team. They weren't ranked before, right? They're they didn't have a ranking.
No, they went from non-ranked to 14th.
Yeah, they're 14th now. We'll be playing East Texas, Kent State, UVA up until their October 4th matchup with Miami, which should be fun. Really fun if FSU can keep up the pace going into that. I think they're legit. And Alabama, dude, like it seemed like Nick Saban was going to take that team. I think Nick Saban, I should have taken hints from him because he was talking in pregame about how, they were asking him, they were like, yeah, you getting that itch to come back? He's like, yeah, it feels good. Feels good to be back. I'm like, yeah, he's going to come take that job back in like a week or two.
Oh my! Well, not with that buyout. I think what was a figure that I saw was his buyout, $60 million or something. It was some astronomical number. So like Alabama fans, you better sit tight because you're gonna have to get comfortable with the Kalen DeBoer regime for a while. Yep. But no, I think kind of going back to what you said, like the implosion that happened last year after going 2-10. I think what happened there is a multitude of things. I think you had the rose-colored glasses still on from last season. They're looking to just reload and try to do it over again. They might not have taken it too seriously, through spring ball and into the summertime conditioning, fall practices, things of that nature. Because one big thing that Mike Norvell, head coach of Florida State, had done this year is he completely shut down media presence at the facility during, spring ball and through the summertime. There was a couple days where they allowed them to come on, to interview players and coaches and stuff like that. But like there was no media presence at all. And I think at that point, that's just Mike Norvell and, Gus Malzahn, the Gus Bus coming in there, OC, longtime head coach for Auburn and most recently UCF. And then you have Tony White coming over from Nebraska as the defensive coordinator. I think one thing that's different from this year, from last year, is you're not just getting talent, you're getting the right pieces. I mean, look at Tommy Castellanos, he was the starting quarterback for Boston College. Inevitably, he was benched about halfway through the season there in BC by Bill O'Brien, head coach of Boston College. Look at his stats last year. I mean, before he got benched, he threw for over 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 picks. And that's just in the air, rushing alone too last year. 200 carries, 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns on the ground. So it's like you're getting talent. But I think the factor that, Tommy Castellanos brings more than DJU did last year is you got that swagger back. Like Jordan Travis, that program was built around him. And you see a lot of the same flashes. There's a lot of the same comparable kind of play styles between Tommy and Jordan Travis too. Very mobile. They can hurt you with their feet. Hopefully we don't have the same detrimental end with Tommy that we did with Jordan Travis 2 years ago, but I will knock on some wood. And especially with Gus Malzahn's offensive play style, high tempo, fast paced, trying to keep you on your toes at all times and really take shots when the opportunity presents itself. I think the way they went around to rebuilding the program in the offseason, bringing in some key pieces that are not only going to be productive, but they match the culture fit at the same time. I think that's what's played more into Florida State's success for that first week. And I mean, we see it all the time. You have, the David and Goliath proverbial matchups. Do you think Alabama was going into this matchup with any kind of sense of urgency or, any kind of worry that Florida State may or may not upset them on the road?
They should have, because it's not like they were playing, I'm looking at it like Penn State had Nevada, right? You're not going to be worried about Nevada, and you're not going to be
Oregon, Montana State.
Yeah, South Dakota, fucking LIU. and everything.
Right.
They're not going to fear those. FSU is still a
Long Island University.
Long Island. That's where we're talking. Yes, exactly. With our boy Tone the Shark. Now they should have been.
I thought you were going to say Tone Loc for a second. I was like, Tone Loc go to Long Island University?
No, we got Tone the Shark.
Let's go.
That's the LAU.
Gabagool.
It's Tommy DeVito's new agent.
Cue the Sopranos music.
But no, they should have had some fear there. They should have had some type of more preparation. That just comes off as way overly confident, to me, at least.
Well, and one thing that's sticking a craw on my side, and that I guess that's a white saying. I don't know. But you see all the talking heads in the media, ESPN, Sports Center, College Game Day, all the, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram. You see all these people coming out, and all they're talking about is Alabama from this game, and not so much giving Florida State any kind of, pat on the back or, really giving them their just, what's the term I'm looking, just desserts?
Just desserts. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like that.
They earned that win. Like Alabama's ranked 8th in the preseason in week 1. Like they're there for a reason. Like they're you got college football playoff hopefuls, maybe a national title, blah, 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 blah. So I just feel like it's just the ESECPN just not trying to give any kind of credit to the underdog, which is sad. And before we do get into the slate of games that I have for you for week 2 to kind of keep an eye on, I do have another nominee for the Shamey of the week. We have Arch Manning with the hype flop. It is what it is. But another hype flop that we're not talking about, and I think it's kind of been skirted under the rug. Bill Belichick's debut versus TCU, 48-14, allowed 520 yards. Offense had just 14 first downs. Does Belichick just need years to rebuild UNC's program in Chapel Hill, or do you think that his style just doesn't translate well to college ball? Like we talked about this at length last year with Deion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Length for the last almost 2 years now about him being there in Boulder, and we saw that implosion. He doesn't have the time management skills to be a head coach at the college football level with Deion. Apparently he doesn't know how to call timeouts when it means the most. But you got Bill Belichick, who's taken over, a fairly competitive UNC team. They're in the ACC. They could surprise some people. They got some flashes of talent on both sides of the ball. But where do you feel it's going wrong? Or do you think it's just too early to wave the white flag in the experiment?
It might be too early to wave
Jordan's
the white
fault?
It's probably there's a strong chance of Jordan's fault. Yeah, there was
a couple of times I saw her on the sidelines, and I think she's asking him for some pocket money to get some concessions. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, they have their Netflix deal that they're going to be doing, or it's Netflix or Hulu, something that they're going to be doing a documentary about the season for UNC, and I immediately thought about that as the score was getting worse. I was like, oh, that's going to be a fun first episode. Because they already nixed the Hard Knocks. They were supposed to be on in-season Hard Knocks, and Jordan got that canceled because she wanted too much production power in it. I think there's just a lot going on there. Could they turn up? Could they find some improvements here? Sure, but like you just brought up with Deion, right? This was the expected start that a lot of people had for Deion, right? With his first game at Colorado, they expected it to go this poorly. Nobody was talking this way with Belichick. I didn't hear anybody. Everybody was just all hyped up about Chapel Bill. And instead you got Chapel Ronan out there. And it's just, this might be one of the very rare instances where because you always see college coaches go to the NFL and fail because they try to bring the college experience to the pros and try to run an NFL team like a college unit, and it doesn't work most of the time. I think we're going to get that rare example of an NFL coach going down to college to do the very same, and he's already said it. He's going to run it like a professional organization and run it pretty much like a minor league team of getting these guys ready for the pros, and he might really be successful in turning these guys into leaders and turning them into potential professional products. and being ready for maybe not first round picks, but like, just getting littered all over the draft. But I don't think that's going to translate to wins. I don't think I don't see really
year.
Yeah, I don't really see any hope on this team. And then we say this because is it going to be a failure or a success? How long do we expect Belichick to be coaching?
Alive?
And yeah, that too, especially with Jordan like breathing down his neck. How long do we really give him to get this UNC team off the ground and into, I don't know, what's the realistic expectation you're expecting from him? Playoff contention or even national champion, natty contention? I don't really see that happening. I've always pictured it being more of a Steve Belichick inheritance team within like, a season or two. So I think it's an awful, awful start for them here in week 1.
I mean, the only saving grace is that his buyout's $1 million. Like,
that helps.
Like, it is what it is, because I know that dropped, it was 10 million and it dropped to $1 million on June 1st of this summer. So, I mean, he's on the hook 5 years, $50 million. I think they left that in there specifically for Bill to pull the trigger when he's ready to jump to ship, hit the ejecto cedo cuz button, like, because like 5 years down the road, like I wasn't totally sold on UNC this year, even with Bill Belichick, with all the hype. Like I didn't see his coaching style translating well. I didn't see him meshing with the college athletes as well, unless you're Jordan. And it's like, he'll give it a run. But at this point, I feel like if you're trying to, if you're UNC and you're trying to grasp for straws and trying to bring in outside money and trying to, acquire talent based on his name and likeness alone, then just do what Stanford's done and some of the other programs have done. Like, you have Andrew Luck, who's the GM of the program. Like, just do that then. He has ties to UNC, so it's not like it's out of the ordinary for him to be there doing that. At least that way it gets him in the front office role, get him in front of boosters, blah, 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 and bring in a head coach who is A, more deserving, and B, more well-equipped to navigate the college football landscape at this point. That's just kind of my thoughts on UNC.
Yeah, because looking at this UNC schedule, obviously they can pick up wins. It's not the worst schedule.
It's as soft as a cupcake I ate before we got on the show today.
But October 4th against Clemson, man. If they can't pick up some wins leading into that, like if they look as poor as they did against TCU going forward, and like we said with Arch, maybe this is a rust thing. Maybe this is, maybe they should have played in week 0, which I have a lot of issues with, instead of week 1. It could be bad, man. Like, you keep getting embarrassed ahead of this, maybe one win against that Clemson game. Clemson's going to beat that ass. Clemson's going to take that ass.
Yeah, I feel like
they will pick up wins.
I'm going to look. I can run through the schedule really quick. I feel like they're at Charlotte this week. I can see them dropping that game.
Coming back,
they'll probably pick up Richmond.
Right,
it gives them a 2-week kind of like light your fire under your ass kind of thing. I can see them picking up the game at Richmond. UCF, no, I don't see them beating UCF, especially with how well they came out playing against. It was Jackson State, but
right.
At least they got a win. So, Clemson, no. Cal.
So that's where I'm putting it. You got him 1-3 going into Clemson, and he's lucky that Dabo's one of those respectful coaches.
That's a lucky 1-3.
Right. Like, Dabo won't be like, one of these other coaches who will try to beat the shit out of him just to make a point.
Do you not think that Dabo, when he has that date circled on his fucking calendar, he's salivating right now with a chance of being able to say, I beat Bill Belichick at football?
That's a good point.
All these coaches are salivating at that thought. Because how many coaches in the career of football can say that?
That's right.
Not very many. But that's week 1, Reed.
That is week 1.
If anything, this 45-minute show. What was supposed to be a 30-minute show is turned into 45 minutes because we just got lost in the sauce. But before I do move on to next week, I do want to give my thoughts and prayers and condolences to Florida State freshman Ethan Pritchard, who was unfortunately shot Saturday night following the game there in Tallahassee. very unfortunate circumstance. I mean, his father came out his father Earl came out with a little press release. Pretty much it happened after, I guess, a family get together. He was driving his aunt to her house, and apparently, allegedly, right now, the shooter shot the car based off of a bad description. I guess it was intended for somebody else, which whoever it was intended for, you better go play the lottery, because the Powerball is up to $1.3 billion. So you already dodged one bullet. You might as well try to strike lucky right there. But he is in critical but stable condition. So thankfully, we're good to go with that. Hopefully he gets rebounds from this sooner rather than later. But, it's definitely never anything fun to have to talk about. Gun safety. Why we shoot guns, Reed?
It gets worse and worse, man. We could have a whole thing about this. Everything for a long time about this era.
Right. Well, we'll save that for Luis, because I'm sure Luis has some insightful words.
We'll save it for Josh Cole in a couple weeks.
Ooh,
got plenty of hard-hitting questions.
Even better. Now you can tease that, because I'm excited to hear that conversation. But rolling into next week, Reed, while we're going through these games, I'm actually going to give you my picks at the same exact time, just so that way, we can see where each other's brains at. College Shame Day. They'll be in Norman for the Michigan and Oklahoma game. Look at Bryce Underwood, quarterback for Michigan, 250 yards in his debut. Jackson Arnold, the quarterback for Oklahoma, he had 4 touchdowns in week 1. Before I get your thoughts, for me, home field in Norman is brutal. I've had the luck of being able to watch Oklahoma University games. My mom went there for her graduate degree program. We lived right outside Oklahoma City for a couple of years in my youth, so I'm well aware of how rambunctious it can get there in Norman. And Arnold looked sharp with 4 touchdowns, so I'm going to roll with the Sooners for this week's game against Michigan. But I do want to get your thoughts. Which quarterback is more likely to crack under this type of a spotlight? The freshman phenom Bryce Underwood or Jackson Arnold?
You said to crack under the pressure here. Probably. I'm going to say Underwood. He's been getting a lot of hype all week. Been getting a lot of spotlight throughout the week. It's awesome for him. It's awesome to see the chance that Michigan, might have a shot at this, even though they're heavily pronounced cheaters, and that's something that we missed during our off time and during our hiatus was the continued punishment that Michigan is getting for Jim Harbaugh and Connor Stallions.
Good.
Fuck them. What the hell is the punishment?
I hate Ohio as much as anybody, but Michigan's a very close second, and I couldn't care less.
He didn't get a ban or anything. It's a 4-year show cause. What is that supposed to do? He's not coming back during 4 years.
No, he's not going to come back at all. He's riding this fucking coaching hiatus in not San Diego, in LA as long as he can. He's not going to be coaching anything. But yeah, initial fine of $50,000. Yeah. Cool. Okay. 10% of the football budget. Cool. Okay. And loss of postseason revenue sharing. Are they going to get in the postseason? Outside of a bowl that they're going to miss out on.
This is super. Cool. This is super in the weeds and slightly off topic. But very quickly, I want to get your thought here because, this is a big deal, right? This is sign stealing to a different degree that Connor Stallions is doing there. We talked about it in full back in the time. When it comes to the punishments for these teams, right? It's basically the NCAA got rid of. It seems like they got rid of the death penalty. Right, we talked about the death penalty. Penn State was under the death penalty for a while for everything with Paterno and all of that. And back then, we're saying, the death penalty is very unfair to teams and to players because, players can't go anywhere. All of a sudden, these dudes who are on the team that had nothing to do with what happened a few years ago can't compete for postseason anything. That sucks. That's unfair for them. But now that the death penalty seems to be gone, transfer portal's crazy. You can pretty much get out. You've got players getting out in the middle of seasons and just declaring themselves done with that. You put a death penalty on a team for a punishment like Michigan. How is that unfair? That's not unfair anymore to the players because they can up and leave whenever they want. And your punishment really does, the death penalty punishment really would fall onto the team and to the school where you're going to be losing out on recruits. You're going to be losing out on your own stars. So, should we be aiming to bring the death penalty back? in college football?
No. I'll just give it a blanket statement. No. Okay. Not because, because you really think college football is going to approve Michigan to get the death penalty against them? No. They could get away with it with some of those smaller programs like the Group of Fives and blah, 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 blah. But the last team that actually faced the true quote unquote death penalty was SMU in 1987, 86, somewhere in there, before our time. But the reasons why it was because of things that are perfectly acceptable now, payments under the table, cars, benefits, things like that. So everything that's going on now is what they had gotten their death penalty for. And we saw how long it took that program to recover. They're just now starting to be, respected in the college football circles. But I don't agree with the death penalty, but I do believe that the sanctions and the penalties and things like that need to be drastically more than that drop in the bucket. Because you think that's really going to set Michigan back even a season? No. Because at the end of the day, cool, we're missing out on postseason revenue. Half these fucking players don't even want to play in the postseason. You're doing them a service. Oh, right. I don't have to play because I can't play the postseason, guys. My team can't play, so I guess I'll just stay healthy. Because I do hold on to some hope that, a vast majority of these kids that are playing, especially ones who don't really have, they don't have what it takes to play in the NFL, but you get what I'm saying. They're there they're getting their student athletes, they're students first, and they're getting their way there by being their athlete for their team and their respective, programs. Mm-hmm. So I'm holding out hope that, most of them want to be able to play in the postseason. But you think Bryce Underwood, who is a freshman and he conceivably could have another 2 seasons there, do you think he truly cares? No. So I don't know what they're doing.
So all that said, all in all, give me Oklahoma.
Who do you got?
Give me the Sooners. Give me the Sooners and John Mateer. I like John Mateer for that team.
Moving forward, Ole Miss at Kentucky. Ole Miss 60 points in 3 straight openers, which is an SEC record. So take that, Alabama. And Kentucky gave up 380 yards to Miami of Ohio last week. So, I think it's kind of clear. The offense is rolling. The Rebels are, like I said, they scored 60 plus in 3 straight openers. Kentucky's defense isn't built to play at this kind of a level, especially against Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, give me Ole Miss too. Lane Kiffin's one of my underrated favorite scumbags in football.
Underrated?
Underrated scumbag? Yeah, a little.
He's teetering to the properly rated. I think a lot of people are starting to pick up on the scumbaggeriness that is Lane Kiffin.
As soon as he gets out of Ole Miss, if he transfers out of there to
Alabama.
Alabama. Oh my God, scumbag.
Ugh, God. Moving on, Oregon at Oklahoma State, because it's only right. If we're going to go to Norman, we might as well go to Stillwater at the same time. You got the Ducks last week in the opener, 12 rushers and 10 receivers touched the ball. You talk about depth on their roster for playmakers that can hit that field. And Oklahoma State's defense allowed just 13 points in week 1. Hey, birds of a feather flock together. Give me those Ducks. The depth, the versatility, they're just going to overwhelm Oklahoma State's defense next week.
Yeah, I don't disagree. With the single thing you said there. Give me Oregon.
Oh, man. The second to last, Illinois at Duke. Illinois 52-3 in their week 1 win. Second largest opener margin in the AP era. And then Duke's quarterback, Darian Mensah, makes his first big start there for the Blue Devils. This could be a trap spot for Illinois. Mensah has talent. I'm very, very intrigued to see how he's going to hit the ground running there for the Blue Devils. And Duke's defense at home can force some critical mistakes, especially against a program of the caliber of Illinois. So give me Duke at home.
Yeah, I was about to take Duke in there just because for whatever reason I still thought Illinois' coach is Lovie Smith, but we got Bienema there now, so I think I'm gonna roll with the favorite here and roll with Illinois, roll with the Fighting Illini right here. I think Duke will put up a fight and give them a little bit of a scare, but Illinois is gonna finish it out.
And talking about finishing out, let's finish out this, the games to watch for week 2 of college football, and that is Iowa at Iowa State. and you're getting a very, long-standing rivalry game 2 weeks into the college football world. Iowa State, they're favored by 3. Rivalry games are often decided by 7 or fewer, and Iowa only had 275 yards in total in week 1. I'm gonna take the sneaky pick. I'm gonna go with Iowa State. The rivalry edges and names, Cyclones offense looks a little sharper, and Iowa still can't move the ball.
Yeah, that's been an issue for them for the longest time, right? With Iowa, where they still haven't gotten that figured out, and it's not picking an upset to take Iowa State here, being the 16th ranked team right now. But I've also always liked Matt Campbell as a coach. I think he is a sneaky underrated coach. Like I don't hear his name as often, and I've always thought he would be one to actually be a really good move up to the NFL. Give me the Cyclones. Is that what they are? They're not the scumbag Sharks that we love at LIU. But yeah, give me Iowa State here.
Oh man, I like it. I like these picks. Maybe I'll roll them into a parlay this week. I guess there's only one way to find out. And you're going to have to check out the official College Shame Day Instagram page at College Shame Day. I'll post it on there if I do it. Teaser. But before we get out of here, Reed, if you had to lock in your playoff 4 right now, who are you riding with?
Man. Playoff 4? So that you're talking to who would be my final 4?
Sure.
I'm obviously Ohio State. I'm 100% putting Ohio State in there. Honestly, you'll hate this. I'm going to put Miami. I got Miami in the Final 4.
Okay.
I'm not giving up hope on Clemson. I'm going to go ahead and say Clemson and Texas. So.
Okay.
And maybe there's no road to any of that. But yeah, give me Ohio State. Give me Ohio State, Texas, Miami, and Clemson in the Final 4.
Okay, I'll be a little chalk here for a second. Ohio State, Penn State. Bang.
I'm so.
I think you're seeing the pivot. You're seeing the pivot from the SEC to the Big Ten. It is what it is.
I hate
but
Penn State.
I will. For anything, hopefully I can just play the devil's advocate, and maybe this will pan out for me in the future, and I'll be wrong. Give me Miami in there in the top 4, and then give me my sneaky SEC pick of South Carolina with Lenore Sellers.
South Carolina, interesting. Okay.
Folks, but that is it for this week's installment of College Shame Day. Next week, we'll know who's real and who really belongs to be locked up in, I guess, Shame Day jail. I guess maybe we'll get some funds from Daddy Trump. Maybe you got what, Gator Traz or whatever the hell he has going on in Florida. Maybe we'll make a Shame Day Traz. Who knows? But Reed, what do you got going on over on the main channel this week?
Hey man, NFL's back. You just talked about Daddy, and Daddy is home. The NFL is back. So we have our 2025 NFL preview already out. We have some movie and Oscar preview predictions for Travis Byram also going. And of course, the Sunday Hangover is back. So you can catch the show it will be out on the channels on Mondays, and hopefully at some point we'll be doing them live. Might even experiment doing it live this week. So we'll see how it goes. Sundays, 7:30, the Sunday Hangover, getting all your post-NFL talk going, and Ricks vs. Gricks on Thursdays. And of course, you can follow at 323read, at 323REID on all social media, at patreon.com, and subscribe, review, and rate the show wherever you get podcasts or on YouTube. Give us 5 stars. And like we said with Travis, if you give us 4 stars or anything under that, I'm just going to assume that you're as big a scumbag as Lane Kiffin. You're just a scum. You're the scum of the earth.
Oh my gosh! And
you might as well be Kalen DeBoer.
Oh, or Taylor Swift.
Or Scummy the Shark.
Oh boy! Well, thank you again, Reed, for joining us, and thank you all at home for joining us as well this week. And have a very shameful weekend. And bye. Reed, I got to go because this milk is hitting.
Good night, buddy.
Later.
I knew that.
Oh God, 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 oh God.